Good evening. Welcome to Meetings with Our Community.
President Obama has fulfilled one of the most passionate promises of his administration by taking an important step forward to fix our broken immigration system.
For more than 200 years, our tradition of welcoming immigrants from around the world has given us a tremendous advantage over other nations. It's kept us youthful, dynamic, and entrepreneurial. It has shaped our character as a people with limitless possibilities. People not trapped by our past, but able to remake ourselves as we choose. But today, our immigration system is broken, and everybody knows it. Families who enter our country the right way and play by the rules watch others flout the rules. Business owners who offer their workers good wages and benefits see the competition exploit undocumented immigrants by paying them far less. All of us take offense to anyone who reaps the rewards of living in America without taking on the responsibilities of living in America. And undocumented immigrants who desperately want to embrace those responsibilities see little option but to remain in the shadows or risk their families being torn apart. It's been this way for decades. And for decades, we haven't done much about it. When I took office, I committed to fixing this broken immigration system. And I began by doing what I could to secure our borders. Today, we have more agents and technology deployed to secure our southern border than at any time in our history. And over the past 6 years, illegal border crossings have been cut by more than half. Although this summer there was a brief spike in unaccompanied children being apprehended at our border, the number of such children is now actually lower than it's been in nearly 2 years. Overall, the number of people trying to cross our border illegally is at its lowest level since the 1970s. Those are the facts. Meanwhile, I worked with Congress on a comprehensive fix. And last year, 68 Democrats, Republicans, and independents came together to pass a bipartisan bill in the Senate. It wasn't perfect. It was a compromise. But it reflected common sense. It would have doubled the number of Border Patrol agents while giving undocumented immigrants a pathway to citizenship if they paid a fine, started paying their taxes, and went to the back of the line. And independent experts said that it would help grow our economy and shrink our deficits. Had the House of Representatives allowed that kind of bill a simple yes or no vote, they would have passed with support from both parties. And today it would be the law. But for a year and a half now, Republican leaders in the House have refused to allow that simple vote. Now, I continue to believe that the best way to solve this problem is by working together to pass that kind of common sense law. But until that happens, there are actions I have the legal authority to take as president, the same kinds of actions taken by Democratic and Republican presidents before me, that will help make our immigration system more fair and more just. Tonight, I'm announcing those actions. First, we'll build on our progress at the border with additional resources for our law enforcement personnel so that they can stem the flow of illegal crossings and speed the return of those who do cross over. Second, I'll make it easier and faster for high-skilled immigrants, graduates, and entrepreneurs to stay and contribute to our economy, as so many business leaders have proposed.
Deport felons, not families, by prioritizing enforcement resources to focus on criminals and not hardworking parents of U.S. citizens.
We'll take steps to deal responsibly with the millions of undocumented immigrants who already live in our country. I want to say more about this third issue because it generates the most passion and controversy. Even as we are a nation of immigrants, we're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous. That's why over the past 6 years, deportations of criminals are up 80%. And that's why we're going to keep focusing enforcement resources on actual threats to our security. Felons, not families. Criminals, not children. Gang members, not a mom who's working hard to provide for her kids. We'll prioritize, just like law enforcement does every day. But even as we focus on deporting criminals, the fact is millions of immigrants in every state, of every race and nationality, still live here illegally. And let's be honest, tracking down, rounding up, and deporting millions of people isn't realistic. Anyone who suggests otherwise isn't being straight with you. It's also not who we are as Americans. After all, most of these immigrants have been here a long time. They work hard, often in tough, low-paying jobs. They support their families. They worship at our churches. Many of their kids are American-born or spent most of their lives here. And their hopes, dreams, and patriotism are just like ours. As my predecessor, President Bush, once put it, they are a part of American life.
I'm Michael Strahan, and I love New York. There's no place like it in the world. My favorite thing is the excitement of the outdoors, like rock climbing in the Catskills, rafting in the Adirondacks, surfing on Long Island, or getting your heart racing at Watkins Glen International. Come discover your favorite part of New York. Plan your summer vacation at iloveny.com. There's something for everyone.
House Speaker John Bonner has just released this short message ahead of the president's immigration speech.
The president says he's acting on his own. That's just not how our democracy works. The president had said before that he's not king and he's not an emperor, but he's sure acting like one. And he's doing it at a time when the American people want nothing more than for us to work together.
Here are some details as to what the president's plan will do.
This is not a law, and this is not an executive action. It's administrative relief. So it's really an extension of what the president was doing. So first of all, and most importantly, the president first announced that they're going to be throwing a lot of money at the borders to control the immigration into the United States. So what there is going to be a crackdown on illegal immigration at the border, and that's very important. So they're deploying resources to the borders, which will include a significant number of hires. In fact, Customs and Border Protection has already announced that they're going to be hiring 2,000 new workers. So that's number one. And also they're going to be focusing on deporting undocumented immigrants who have recently come into the United States. So that's going to be one of the enforcement priorities. Now, also the president said in his speech, which is very important, is that they're going to focus on deporting felons and not families. And that goes to the fact that the president's underlying policy is to increase family unity. And so he did a couple of things to increase family unity. One of them is that he increased or expanded what's called the DACA program. For those of you who are familiar with the DACA program, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, that was done in two ways. Most important way is that they increased the age limit for DACA. So before, you couldn't get DACA if you were over 31 years of age. Now they've increased that limit. So even if you're over 31, you can still take advantage of DACA. In addition to that, there's a new program that's called DAP, or Deferred Action for Parents. And what this will allow is undocumented parents of U.S. citizen children or lawful permanent resident children who have been here for 5 years continuously will have an opportunity to file for deferred action and to get work authorization.
At the present time, before actually the Obama's announcement, it was easy for the government to arrest people and deport them. But President Obama has very strongly made the priority that the first priority for him is criminals and people who have committed serious crimes, and not the families, because family unification is the most important thing to the president. So right now what I'm saying is that people who are living unlawfully in the United States and have not committed any crimes should not be really under the threat of being deported. So this is the lowest thing. First priority is criminals and the deportees and also the terrorists. The rest of the people, he cannot say don't deport them, but he's telling to the officials and the government that that is not the main important thing to do. You should concentrate on only felons and criminals. So if you are in this country undocumented, don't have to worry, go to sleep, take it easy. I don't think that the government is going to come after you. It's a very good plan that the president has.
The mayor underscores the need for federal action on immigration.
It's a very good day for New York City because we're signing legislation that will have a really meaningful effect on the lives of immigrants. I hasten to say at the beginning, New York City, a city that is great because it has been a city of immigrants, not just for decades, for hundreds of years. This is who we are. Look around you. Each and every one of us understands and appreciates where we come from. So many of our fellow New Yorkers are immigrants just now, even in this generation, a city still profoundly made up of immigrants and all the good that comes with that, all the energy, all the drive, all the hope, all the creativity, all the entrepreneurship. So today we take a step to actually align our city to who we are, to get our laws to align to our values, to our nature as New Yorkers, to have our laws respect our people in a way they haven't before. It's a lot of people to thank. I want to first thank someone who couldn't be with us but has been an extraordinary voice on behalf of the many, many immigrants that he serves, Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio of the Diocese of Brooklyn, who's been a really great friend and ally in this effort, and I want to thank everyone at the Diocese of Brooklyn. I want to thank Father Walter Lawson and Our Lady of Sorrows for hosting us, a church that has been a place of welcome and support for immigrants, a place that all people of all backgrounds, regardless of documentation status, knew they could come to find love and embrace and support, and really playing out the vision of the church that it's here to serve all. Well, we in the city government are here to serve all as well. And a lot of things we've been doing lately, trying to break down the barriers that exist and the way that historically some folks have been treated who are just as much our fellow New Yorkers, even if they don't happen to have documentation. And a lot of people have been caught up in a lot of challenges. We're going to talk about what the ICE detainers have meant for so many families and try and put it in very human terms. But getting back to the core of this, our goal is to treat everyone like they matter, everyone like they're our fellow New Yorkers. That happens every day here in this church, and we admire it and appreciate it. This church serves one of the largest immigrant communities in the entire city, provides a lot of the social service helps connect people to employment, does so many of the things that make people's lives better. I want to thank the leaders of my administration who have been a key part of the process that's brought us to this day and will be obviously very involved in the implementation of this new law. Nisha Argawal, our Commissioner for the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, Zach Carter, my Corporation Counsel, Carlos Gomez, Chief of Patrol at the NYPD, Joe Pont, our Commissioner of Corrections, Ana Bermudez, our Commissioner of Probation. And I want to thank all of the elected officials who have joined us and give a special thank you to the co-sponsor of this bill, Councilmember Danny Drum. And you'll be hearing from some of the other electeds in just a moment.
Introductions to 486-A and 487-A further limit the request for local law enforcement agencies to continue to hold an individual after his or her case has been resolved to facilitate pickup and detention by federal immigration authorities.
The new laws prevent ICE from maintaining an office at Rikers Island and limit when the Corrections Department and NYPD may honor ICE detainers. Again, the detainers are voluntary requests to hold someone who would otherwise be released by local authorities. And the notion is that allows ICE to come and pick up the person thereafter. Under these new laws, the city will only honor the detainer requests only if they are accompanied by a judicial warrant and the person in question is convicted of a violent or serious crime or matches the terrorist database. What these bills do is they protect the rights of undocumented immigrants, of visa holders, and legal permanent residents alike, all of whom have suffered under the previous approach, and ultimately prevent families from being torn apart. I also believe fundamentally these bills will protect public safety because we believe that the best way to keep us safe is to build trust and communication between our police force and the people they serve. And let's face it, many of our fellow New Yorkers will not be comfortable engaging with the police if they fear deportation. Once they know that they will be protected, it will make it much easier to build the trust and the relationship and the communication we need between all New Yorkers of all backgrounds and law enforcement. When people understand, in all cases, police are here to protect and will not be part of deporting, it will encourage people to come forward, to share information with the police, to give them leads that they need so they can stop crime. Finally, before a couple of words in Spanish and I turn to my colleagues, it's an important day, some of the news we're hearing nationally. We need change in this country. There's been too many years while we've been waiting for comprehensive immigration reform. Too many people in Washington have talked about it and not shown any willingness to act on it. We are hoping from the news we're hearing today that there's finally going to be executive action, and that is desperately necessary. There's times when the Congress fails us and the President must act, and we are hopeful that we're going to see that action immediately. And then we look forward to the day for the really bigger action we need, which is legislation, comprehensive immigration reform. Just in Spanish, hoy estoy firmando una legislación que exigirá al Departamento de Policía y al Departamento de Correcciones cumplir con órdenes federales de detención del control de aduanas e inmigración solo en circunstancias limitadas. Estas legislaciones son un paso importante en nuestro esfuerzo para hacer que nuestra ciudad sea más justa e inclusiva. Con estas legislaciones protegeremos los derechos de los inmigrantes de nuestra ciudad al mismo tiempo que promoveremos the accent's in the wrong place. I had coaches. Promoveremos la seguridad pública. Okay, I'm going to go to an expert now. The Speaker of the City Council has really been a driving force here. I meet with Melissa Mark Viverito weekly. I would say in the 40-something weeks we've been working together, this has been on the agenda almost every one of those weeks, getting this done. And she's had a real energy to make sure we protect our fellow New Yorkers who are immigrants.
Many New Yorkers don't have access to a vehicle, so schlepping an old TV or computer to be recycled isn't easy. That's why the Department of Sanitation partnered with Electronic Recyclers International to create eCycle NYC. This free and convenient electronics recycling program is for residential buildings over 10 units. Learn more at nyc.gov/ecycle.
This is an important moment for our city's immigrant community, said City Council Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito. This bill sends a strong message that while our nation's leaders have dragged their feet on immigration reform, New York City can and will lead. No longer will a person be unnecessarily sent through senseless immigration red tape under this new law.
And it's really a wonderful day when we can codify our moral values and put forth legislation that is going to protect thousands. And although we do hear, and we have heard some pronouncements yesterday that the president will be taking some sort of imminent executive action, we know that does not go far enough. We know that we need comprehensive legislation passed by the House, passed by the Senate. The president is trying to do what he can, but I don't have much faith, unfortunately, in what these elections have brought. So in that vein, we as municipalities are being asked to step up to the plate. to again put forth legislation that really will mimic and really supports what we value in this city. So I want to thank, obviously, the mayor very much for his support. We were just talking earlier, this work to get to this point started in the last session. And I remember the day when Councilmember Danny Drum, Councilmember Julissa Ferreras, who are here with us, and some other members sat with the then criminal justice coordinator under Bloomberg, and we talked about this bill. And he almost just laughed in our face and said, it will never happen. And we are here today through that effort and consistency and knowing what is right, and now gotten to the point where we are today, where we are going to be helping and saving thousands of lives. So today is a special day for New Yorkers. Today we stand up for the rule of law. Today we stand up for dignity and fair treatment under the law. Today we stand up for families, and today we stand up for respect. It's been said many times that this country was built by immigrants. The city's immigrant community is part of this fabric. Immigrants work, pay taxes, build families, go to school, and set down roots in our communities. It's also not news that our immigration system is broken and that the government has done little other than to step up enforcement. So once again, it has fallen on New York City and other municipalities to pick up the slack for the federal government. We cannot enforce our way out of the problems the federal government can't fix. Recently, we became aware that some of these enforcement efforts may even raise constitutional rights issues. The government cannot hold someone without a finding of probable cause that a law has been broken. Yet right now, ICE issues requests known as detainers to law enforcement agencies like the Department of Correction of the Department of Correction or the NYPD to hold someone after they would normally have been released, and rarely if ever provides a probable cause determination to back up that request. We simply can't honor these types of requests without an underlying finding of probable cause. It is unfair and it is un-American. And until Congress acts to fix our broken immigration system, we should only cooperate with ICE to the extent it's necessary to keep us safe and secure. So today, we will enact 2 laws that will limit the city's cooperation with ICE in the enforcement of civil immigration laws. These bills will prohibit the Department of Correction and the Police Department from honoring civil immigration detainer requests issued by ICE unless a federal judge issues a warrant and the subject of the detainer has been convicted of a violent or serious crime or is a possible match on a terrorist watch list. It's very important to really highlight that part of it. New York City has no business expending scarce resources assisting in the enforcement of broken immigration laws. That is not the role of our police officers. That is not the role of our corrections officers. If Congress won't act, we must. So in addition to reducing the number of ICE civil detainer requests the city honors, we will also remove ICE offices from Rikers Island, and we will no longer give ICE special access to those being held on Rikers Island. So these bills are simple. They're about respecting the civil rights and the dignity of New Yorkers. They're about keeping hardworking families together. They're about keeping New Yorkers safe and secure. And they're about simple fairness. And before closing, I really want to thank the mayor for his support of this issue. And clearly the advocates, many of whom are here today, it is the advocates that raised these issues with me many years ago. It is the advocates who we thank for their consistency of effort. It has led us to this day.
This week on City Scoop, more manufacturing comes to Brooklyn Navy Yard's Building 77.
When this building is completed, it will increase employment at the Navy Yard by more than 40%.
The million-square-foot warehouse will be transformed into a 21st century industrial hub that will generate 3,000 manufacturing jobs. The city, Brooklyn Navy Yard Corporation, Brooklyn Borough President, and City Council have invested in the renovations, which are expected for completion in 2016. The city has approved proposals for free Wi-Fi kiosks to replace a payphone near you. Besides free internet, the new kiosks, called Links, would offer New Yorkers free calls throughout the U.S., touchscreen access to city services, and free mobile charging. The mayor signs into law bills that will further protect undocumented immigrants from being held by local law enforcement agencies at the request of federal immigration and custom authorities for deportation purposes, except in instances where there are public safety concerns. That's it for this week's City Scoop. Check us out on demand or Friday nights on NYC Life.
I'm Michael Strahan, and I love New York. There's no place like it in the world. My favorite thing is the excitement of the outdoors, like rock climbing in the Catskills, rafting in the Adirondacks, surfing on Long Island, or getting your heart racing at Watkins Glen International. Come discover your favorite part of New York. Plan your summer vacation at iloveny.com. There's something for everyone.
Do you have health coverage through the marketplace? If so, open enrollment is an important time of the year. Here are 5 steps to staying covered. Step 1. Review your coverage. Each fall, your health plan sends you a letter describing any changes for the coming year. Step 2. Update your application on healthcare.gov. You might save money, even if your information hasn't changed. Step 3. Compare plans to find one that meets your needs. There may be new plans in your area. Step 4. Choose a plan. You can keep the same plan if it's still offered, or pick a new one. Step 5. Enroll in a health plan. Be sure to follow up with them to confirm enrollment. And that's all it takes. Review, update, compare, choose, and enroll. For more information, visit healthcare.gov or call us at 1-800-318-2596. And stay covered.
Many New Yorkers don't have access to a vehicle, so schlepping an old TV or computer to be recycled isn't easy. That's why the Department of Sanitation partnered with Electronic Recyclers International to create eCycle NYC. This free and convenient electronics recycling program is for residential buildings over 10 units. Learn more at nyc.gov/ecycle.
Thank you for watching Meetings with Our Community. We hope that you have enjoyed our show, and we hope to see you next week.